So in this video, we're going to have a conversation about some of the myths that are out there about money, because I have the insight of someone that has been around the block in these circles. If you'll allow me just a few minutes of your time, we're going to impart some truths as we see them based on our lifelong experience about some of these myths. And this would be about the untold truth about money, which I understand originally comes from a book which I haven't read, but I just watched somebody talk about, do an overview of the book about how to build wealth from nothing. And the reason I want to do this is because there's a lot of young people that may be watching some of these, and I say young people, people that are maybe starting out in life, that are watching some of these videos and hearing some of these ideas, and I just want to help them out to understand a little bit further of what is not being said in some of these videos. And so the thought begins with, of course, what we talk about on this channel all the time, that in order to have a wealth, you don't want to be selling your time for money. That's no surprise. There's nothing new there with that idea. So this isn't like a taking the video apart kind of a video. It's more of a kind of giving you a background story about what the thought that was put out to the public was, so that you can understand where and how I'm dispelling some of these myths. And it goes on to talk about how in order to achieve big, you have to solve a big problem. And it has to be scalable and all these things. And this is the making money part of the ideas, which of course has a lot of truth in it. If you are engaged in activity that is scalable, then it's going to go a lot further. You have more of a potential of achieving a much larger financial stake for yourself than if you do something that's not so scalable. But scalable, there's nothing wrong with that thought in general, and it isn't that it's untrue. It's just that the thought that's being communicated is that why, if you don't do it this way, you won't achieve this grand greatness. And it holds out this grand greatness as the achievement of the people that have achieved this kind of grand greatness, of the people that we see in the headlines on a weekly basis. You know who they are. The big capitalists of our age. No need to drop names. We all know who they are. But I've been studying capitalists of our age for 40 years. I have. That's the insight I'm giving you here. I was one of these guys that wanted to achieve that grand scale and and I'm not this guy that has failed at that and now is sitting around making videos. Acting like he knows something. It isn't that at all. It's that my life has been one of choices for the most part. You go through life making choices and achieving that which you can control. And that's one of the things that's missing from these kinds of videos, is that you can plan your life so much and you can do all of the right things, and yet you can change direction at any time. I find fault in a lot of these videos because they go ahead and give you this grand and what for all appearances seems to be an encouraging theme, but yet they will narrow it right back down and slam you right back down to the ground and tell you, but most people won't achieve it. Well, what is the value of something like that if most people won't achieve it? The insight I'm giving you in this video isn't that most people won't achieve it. It's that you can be part of those people that makes better choices, that doesn't have to be or feel like you have to be in that 1% minority that somehow has to achieve this grand greatness, because believe you me, you and we all know that a lot of these people have lots of problems. This might be where the mistaken phrase that money is the root of all evil comes from, is the thought that money itself is evil, or that people that have money are evil, which is part of the thought that the video goes into, that this is something that, of course, if you're thinking for yourself, when you're taking your life in your direction, in the direction that you want to go, and you take matters in your own hands, you are no longer really subscribing to all the thoughts and ways of thinking that they put out in movies. And that's one of the things that it was saying in the video, that, maybe you think that, capitalists or people with these great capitalist achievements are all evil and stuff. But who actually believes that, except for a very young person that hasn't really actually branched out yet? And so I guess I'm a little ahead of myself here. If you're one of those guys, you've got to definitely, the very, very first part of the beginning here is start thinking for yourself and drop everything you hear and see in movies, because there's nothing good coming out of Hollywood. We all know that. The untold truth about money and how to build wealth. Lots of people have built wealth. We have so many historical examples. Even in ancient writings, we have the very best examples. Whereas we are told, even in media, that capitalists are bad people and that money's evil. Well, that's wrong. Okay. But now we're being told, but just listen to me. I'm also using social media, and I'm telling you, it's like this. And that's fine. We can glean a little bit here and a little bit there, but we don't have to depend solely and exclusively on ideas that we get. And this is the problem with the information age. Too much information. And we have to weed our way through all of this information, because sometimes we do have good information. Some of these videos are good. For the most part, sound ideas. But is it the complete picture? And we have history. Let's go to history and see. Take a look. How did the ancients achieve wealth? Because some of the ancients have achieved more wealth than the wealthiest people of our age. And as much as we may be in awe of how wealthy some of these people are in our age, like who, that have more than 100 billion each, which, if you ask me, nobody needs 100 billion. But yet some people can just be in the right place at the right time. And of course, they have to line up all their ducks and do all the work. It isn't that they just happen to be in that spot and the wealth just fell in their lap. Of course, they had to pursue wealth. And of course, they had to do all the right things, just like King Solomon did all of the right things to achieve the wealth. And I bring up King Solomon in the ancient scriptures because he was wealthier than any of the wealthiest people of our modern age. Wrap that around your head a little bit and let that sink in, of how much wealth this fellow had in the ancient writings. And yet he made all kinds of mistakes. He had all kinds of life problems, and he had all kinds of things he had to deal with, including that of being a king, with having to deal with enemies of the kingdom, and also all kinds of personal problems. And that's the gist of this video that I'm referring to. I'm saying that it makes it sound like, why, if you achieve this wealth, you've done everything. And it does say, well, what you will find out really is that the real reason you wanted to do this was for the liberty and the freedom. And so that there's two things going on here. It omits to say that the wealth doesn't necessarily, and I would dare say, it creates additional challenges in life that perhaps weren't there before. We get an insight, and we can get that insight from history, and we have history, and we can make decisions based on that history. And this may cause some of us to change direction, which is what I did. I call it a spiritual conversion. And I changed direction. I no longer wanted to spend, because you will spend time trying to amass money. And then one of the thoughts that the video puts out is that once you have all this money, why? You have liberty, which is also dispelled, and I'm dispelling that right here and right now. Let me ask you this question. Why do billionaires from China escape China? The ones that have achieved and amassed all of this wealth, according to this video, the untold truth about money, the real nugget is that what you were really after was liberty. If all of that money really gives you liberty, why do these wealthy billionaires from China escape China if the money was giving them liberty? The answer is that the money only gives you a dimension of liberty, in the sense that it gives you more financial ability and choices, but it doesn't give you true liberty. It never will, it never has, and it cannot. Not to say that I'm discouraging you, I'm just saying there's more to the story, and we can look at history and realize that what we're not being told is actually still not being told, even in the videos that you see this day and age in our social media. So to me, telling people that here's the goose that lays the golden egg, but most people won't achieve it, well, that receives a bonk. 3 big red X's right away from me, because everyone can achieve liberty. Everyone, regardless of their station in life, can achieve liberty. And it is wisdom. This is wisdom, that if you get sucked into this kind of thinking, that you think you have to do something so competitive that most people won't be able to achieve it, and yet that's the only way that you're going to be able to achieve liberty, well, you've already failed then. The idea here is that you won't achieve liberty, and it isn't true. Not at all. We all have the ability and the power, and it comes from the Creator and from above. Thanks for coming to the video. I'm glad you stayed with it. Let me know your thoughts and have a wonderful day.